Hey Heidi, alright, so here is your past life spread. So, what we're going to do is look at where you were, what you did with the majority of your time there, an important day with the relationships and feelings involved, another important day, relationships, feelings, the death, and lesson learned. And we usually get hits of time throughout, but where we're going, we don't need time. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so all I'm going to do is relay to you the images and impressions that are coming through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off of what is coming through here and your current life. And I will try to help however I can. And just keep in mind, there are a couple of ways you can make connections directly, which is exactly what comes up through here, or opposite, which is where your soul experienced something here, so it incarnated back to experience the opposite or something very different. Okay? All right. So, let's start. So here, where we're going is Atlantis Lemuria card. Okay? So we're looking at the Atlantis Lemuria card, and that means either Atlantis Lemuria, of course, but it can also mean legendary places or places unknown or not yet rediscovered, we can say. Sometimes it's not even planet Earth. You know, we get all kinds of places. Okay. So with this, though, it feels like we are going back to Atlantis Lemuria at a time when both coexisted together. And this is not to, upset any belief system or whatever you might have about Atlantis or Lemuria. If anything, if you don't know much about it yet, maybe you do. But if you don't, this would be an ideal time to look into it and to see if you resonate with those stories, we might say, those civilizations, there's a energy about it. Okay, so this also indicates, when I get this card, a lot of times it indicates someone who's going through a spiritual transformation, leveling up, self-expansion, self-awareness, larger perspectives, a lot of realizations about yourself, or you're on that journey. So this could be this card comes up because this is a very I want to say spiritually minded card, in the way where we're looking at civilizations who are aware of energy and utilize energy in various ways, but the awareness of it is what counts, because here today in this society, so to speak, it's not a common thing to walk down the street and ask someone about their crystals, you know what I mean? So it feels like we're going to this place. However, what is interesting is it is blurring together as far as what is Atlantis and what is Lemuria here, because Atlantis has more of an overt and masculine kind of energy, whereas Lemuria has more of a feminine passive energy, and here the feeling coming from it is a blending. So it could be, a lot of times when it's that kind of feel, is when for you to connect in a way with the theme of masculine and feminine energies and how they're playing out in your life. So for example, were you a tomboy? Did you have some transformations in your life where you were aware of your feminine aspects, very aware of your masculine aspects, and or if there's a time before or now that you're working on interweaving the two. If that has had any importance to you in your life, your masculine and feminine traits, that would be a connection. Now, if you haven't had that yet, anything here that does not resonate with you in the present moment, you want to tuck in the back of your head, because a lot of stuff comes up soon after these readings, such as within a month or even a year. But as long as it's tucked in the back of your mind, not completely dismissed, it'll be interesting, because then something will come along where you can be like, okay, that's what she was talking about. So consider that. But whatever resonates with you here, that's what matters. What resonates with you, okay? So we want to talk about this. We want to talk about the blending, masculine, feminine energies, a balanced energy, which also can mean that you might be feeling imbalanced in your life. Now, what comes to mind is the idea of when women go through menopause, how it can throw them off. That's what this kind of feels like. So we're looking at something where you're feeling thrown off. You're feeling like maybe you had a solid foundation under you and certain things change, and it could be a very natural change like menopause, or it can be a change in relationships or a change in environment that throws you off. So this can also be speaking to someone, you, that how you hold certain routines in your life as far as importance goes. Like, do routines in your life bring you stability and almost, I want to say validation, but that's not the exact right word. Routines in your life, something about bringing you, it's a safety net of some sort, where it takes like it almost like gives you a peace of mind. So if there is that theme in your life, that is coming up for a reason. So we're looking at a balancing, we're looking at routines. Okay, so this would be a message, for example, to make sure that you do maintain your routine, but also allow flexibility in the routine, because that would make it balanced rather than getting so on routine that you are dismissing opportunities that might come your way because you have to stick to the routine. You know what I mean? So it's kind of this interesting feeling of balancing, of disciplining yourself in this way, but also knowing when to be like, oh, it's fine, I'll have a piece of cake. You know what I mean? So there is that theme also was coming through when I say that, is actually a theme of allowing yourself, giving permission to yourself. Have you had instances in your life where you're going through something where you're realizing that you have not been giving yourself permission for things that it's like you don't even need permission for, but we are almost brought up being taught we need permission for it? For example, when you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, do you mind if I run to the store, for 10 minutes? And it's like, wait. Why am I asking if I can run to the store? I'm an adult. Like that kind of thing. So I feel like there's a message in that, just to make sure that you are claiming your individuality, and it's almost like the idea of claiming your sovereignty, claiming, your empowerment on standing on your own 2 feet, even if there has been something in place, for example, like a relationship, like a 20-year marriage or whatever it may be, where it always has gone a certain way. Understanding that falling into even those routines, maybe those are the routines we're talking about, but falling into those routines might not be very conducive or serving yourself at this time, at a time in your life when you should be looking to actually kind of break patterns and break routines in healthy ways. Again, such as giving yourself permission to XYZ. Okay? So I feel like that's what we're looking at here when we're looking at this card. But don't forget, this card is also, it's a magic card. Like Atlantis, Lemuria, like these are magical places. That's really cool. So what it feels like too is like a message of like don't downplay magical moments in your life. Make sure you're looking for them. Like put more magic in your life. Like allow yourself, again, permission to be excited about things that you can't see, or things that aren't proven, or you know what I mean? Like allow yourself to be drawn into the mysterious trail of the unknown. Like that's what I feel like I want to say. Like the mystery, the mystique, that kind of stuff. Like don't compare yourself to others, or don't let others be like, that's weird. You know what I mean? If that's the case. Maybe you have found your tribe and they speak your language and you're all into all that cool stuff, but if you are at a place where you're still like, ooh, I don't know how that's gonna look, I don't know how that's gonna go over, I don't know, that's maybe a little too outside the box kind of thing, just know that if that's where you are, you're there for a reason, because you're on the verge of it. You're like on the fence of it, and it's really about looking at, more than anything, where are you holding yourself back? And it really is about you and how you look at yourself, because nobody else really has any impact on you except for the impact you allow other people to have on you, if that makes sense. And so just make sure that your external environment and external factors aren't keeping you from giving yourself the permission you need to expand into a new and different version of yourself, if that makes sense. Okay, so next we are going to what you did with the majority of your time, and this card is the Life at Sea. So what they're showing me actually was right away a feminine aspect, a female aspect, so it's not like we're looking at a sailor on a ship here. Life at sea, what I am getting the image of is this woman walking along the coast, and there's very distinct spots along the coast that are important to her. And it feels like she is an expert in the terrain, and the life at sea is because there's something of an expertise she has of the coastal environment. There are things in the coastal environment that she finds, this is an aspect of you, she finds, that she utilizes for her purpose in life, the role she plays to her community. And there are others like her, but it's not like there's a group. It's like there are others like her scattered throughout along the coast. And it's like the community relies on her in a sense as an alternative medicine kind of healer, in the sense of knowing the coastal functions to prepare, like, it's almost like an alchemist. We're looking at someone who's like, today they would be selling healing lotions or healing balms or healing oils, essential oils, or whatever it might be, but the components of those products come from the sea. So where you can make connections with this would be if you are drawn, honestly, literally, to products that come from the sea. If you see something is made of kelp, seaweed, and this can be like products you use on your body, like maybe you're very interested in holistic-y kind of natural organic lotions and remedies in that way. But it can also be like, what's coming through is also like food. Like, do you like seafood? Do you like sushi? Do you like those seaweed snacks? You know? And if not, if you haven't tried them yet, let's say that's not under your radar, go and try them and see what you think. See how you feel. Like, it's almost like, take a week to like have a kind of like a seafood-ish, kind of more sea-oriented diet, and see how you feel and see if that feels good. And if anything, if you feel like something is off in your body, like you're missing a nutrient, or you feel like there's something you want but you don't know what it is, try being open to the idea of giving yourself nutrition from the ocean or coast, like coastal, whatever it may be. It's kind of interesting, like plant or coastal nutrition. I don't go, and you might want to Google that. You might want to like Google coastal nutrition or nutrition from the sea, or whatever vitamins come from there, and look into it and see how you connect with the ocean and with the bounty of the ocean, what it gives us as humans, what it provides to us. On another note, on a whole nother level, this could be a card that is about you connecting with the ocean, in which I'm getting so much of the urging and encouraging of people to connect with the water, with the sea, with the ocean, even if it's the sound of the ocean. If you're not near the ocean, then watching, seeing videos of the ocean, hearing, again, the sound, the waves, something very therapeutic about it, and also something that is activating about it for you in particular. So almost like go meditate by the ocean. I've said this a lot of times. This is coming through a lot. There are messages in the ocean, and a lot of people connect with it in that way. And so that's what I'm getting through here for you as well. But let's go ahead and go back to this woman who is collecting things from the ocean side, very attuned to it, and again, the expertise level of it. If it's almost like also the idea of, hey, you want a new hobby, you're looking for something to do, or you're getting bored, like go and just like be open-minded and see what projects or products can be made from the sea or seaside. This can simply even be you painting a painting of the ocean, and that in itself is a creative process, and it connects you with the energy as well, believe it or not. So play with the idea and the theme, and connect with the idea and the theme of the ocean, the seaside, and also utilizing the environment of the ocean and seaside and coastal thing, utilizing that to create something for yourself or for others, whatever it may be, and connect with that. Now, there's also the idea of a self-sustaining expertise. So I don't know exactly what to say about that, except it's coming up, and for you to connect with the idea of a self-sustained expertise in the sense of almost like if you're at an office job or a very like traditional job kind of thing, and you've thought of wanting to get out of that, there's something about if you were to focus on the ocean, the idea will come. Like a self-sustaining business, a business owner, you being a business owner, your own business, working for yourself, something about just making sure that you are not under micromanagement in any way for your peace of mind and for your productivity for the purpose of your life. That's what I feel like that wants to come from that card. So keep making connections where you can with that card. And we're going to go to the first important day. All right. Now, the first important day kind of came out as a whammy when I laid it down. This card here is Mother Nature card, and usually it means natural disasters. And then this card, the relationship card, is the child card. And it can mean you as a child, it can mean your child, it can mean, various whatever. And then the feeling here is neutral, a neutral feeling. Now, what this came out as was a miscarriage. And I don't want to say intentional miscarriage, but I do want to say a relieving miscarriage. Almost like there's like the message with it is when something is happening that seems in the moment really crappy or really traumatic or really scary or bad or whatever it might be, it's temporary. And in the end, when you look back at it, you will see all of the good things that came out of it. So it doesn't mean that you necessarily in your current life have undergone or had to experience a miscarriage. Maybe you have. And maybe if you have, this is a message just reminding you that it was natural, meant to happen, and not to hold or harness any guilt or shame about it, in case you do, because it was meant to happen for a reason, for you to work through feelings that had to come to the surface from such an experience, a traumatic experience. And we're talking really honestly about any traumatic experience that comes to your mind right now. Again, it does not have to be a miscarriage, but understanding that everything happens for a reason in the way where in hindsight you can look back and see how far you come, how much you've grown, and that beautiful feeling of, well, I wouldn't have chosen to go through this if I had to choose, but nor do I regret having gone through it now that I see who I have become because of it, and how I would never have become this strong had I not gone through that experience. So this is a message, at least as a reminder, to try to maintain that higher perspective on any really hard instances you may have had to go through in your life, if that makes sense. And this may specifically pertain to children, and this may even specifically be talking about you not even wanting children. Maybe you don't have children because you've chosen you don't want children. Maybe you don't have children because you may have endometriosis and you just cannot have children. Whatever it may be, the best thing you can do, what it feels like, is to align with the notion, because it is true, because here, align with the notion that it was supposed to work out this way because it did. And when you can align with that truth, and it's true because it's where you are, whatever the circumstance may be, when you align with the present moment truth that you are exactly where you are because you were meant to be that way and be in that place because of the things you have gone through specifically that got you to that place, that's in alignment with yourself. It's a good feeling, even if it took a lot of crappy feelings to get to the good feeling. And that's the feeling you want to propel yourself forward with, so to speak, and maintain. And when you get to that place, when you get to that nice aligned feeling, which you've been at before and you can be at again, but the next time you're there and you know when you're aligned, it feels good. You want that to be your mantra that can take you back to a more aligned place even when you're not feeling good. A mantra like, I have been aligned before and I will be aligned again. Because when we're out of alignment, a lot of times we fear that we'll never feel good again. When we're in a bad spot especially, we forget that it's temporary and that we will feel not just good again one day, we'll feel ecstatic again one day. Because we're humans and that's what we do. So there should be an affirmation or mantra, I feel, for you to remember to say, this is temporary, I will be aligned again. Or, this too shall pass. So keep that in mind and connect with that however you can. Now, specifically, it feels like this aspect of you having the miscarriage, there was a neutrality to it because there was something about it that feels like you weren't ready for it and you knew it. It wasn't what you wanted and you knew it. And there's guilt in the, maybe the idea of the life lost, but more so for the unlived life rather than for you. And there's even messages in that where that soul knew that it would come in for a short time within the body, even if the soul was in there. But if the soul comes into the body before it's incarnated, if you look into it, there's a lot of different theories about this, but just bear with me. That soul knew that it would not last, so to speak, and that it basically came in and out very quickly because it's a soul family to you, and it's the soul is helping you learn hard lessons in that way. So the guilt shouldn't be there, because you have to realize that every soul has a journey and a purpose, and subconsciously we all know why we interact with certain people a certain way. We all know the contracts. Deep down we know we have contracts with people. It's when you meet someone and you recognize them and you've never seen them before, but you know them. It's that same thing. It's that feeling that you can't even articulate. You just go with it because it feels familiar and right. If you can remember that even the bad guys in our life, or the things that made us hurt the most, the people that hurt us the most, if you can see it as, oh, we came in with a contract that they might do something that would really hurt me, and from that hurt I would grow exponentially. Thank God. And then you could start to forgive people so much easier. And I feel like even in that, there is this message of making sure that you do forgive people, because the forgiveness is for you to let go of the energy and get it out of your body. Doesn't mean you have to like someone, but you can certainly forgive people and get that energy out, clear your space, and that allows space for all the good stuff to come in, that comes in after you forgive. So keep that in mind, and play with the ideas again of children and how children play a role in your life, having children, being pregnant or not being pregnant, the decisions made around fertility, so to speak, and having children, and the ideas of even like, there are parents that they're like, honestly, if I could choose again, I would not have children. I mean, I love my children, but oh my God, that's hard. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of guilt wrapped up in even admitting that. And it's like, no, you're human. You're human before you're a parent. Even though we are programmed to put our parenthood above being human, so to speak, in a weird way. So just consider those themes. Now, keep making connections. We're going to go to the next important day here. So here we have the marriage card. And with the marriage card, we have friends. Friends card. And we have approving and disapproving. Okay, so what's coming through here feels like a duality day. One, it links to this, where it feels like the reason you did not want to have that child or weren't ready for it was because it feels like you were not in a stable union with someone. More so, it was more lustful than anything, but not stable in the sense that you'd want to create a family anyway with that person. So I feel like that was involved as well. So we're also looking at the idea of choosing appropriate partners for you based on the vibration, and more about making sure you choose a partner. If you don't have a partner now that you're satisfied and content with, making sure to understand that when you meet the right person, it will feel right, even if it doesn't look exactly like what you want. So pay attention to the vibration. And if you're in a relationship and you don't feel too good, pay attention, and you might find it's because you both are at different vibrations and frequencies, even though in the beginning you might have gotten together because it just looked so good, and maybe it felt really good too, but it also looks real good too, if that makes sense. So this feels like it's a message more about when it comes to interacting with people and sharing your energy and having relationships and friendships, making sure that it's based on the vibration of the friendship and not the image of it. Now, the marriage, friends, and approving card. The other duality thing, so the second story that comes wrapped up into this thing, it's showing me, it feels like you're either marrying two people, like you're bringing people together and you're the minister kind of thing, whatever they had back then, or whatever kind of ceremony it was. It feels like you're bringing them together and you're overseeing the marriage, or you're very much a part of it in the way of like being the sole witness to it, if that makes sense. So we're looking at the feelings involved in judgment of it feels like judgment of the union itself, because we're looking at this aspect of you comparing your situation here with their situation here, and it's not a bad thing because it's a realization of what we just talked about before regarding finding the right person by the vibration, by the feel of it, and you can see that here. So it feels like you can see that these two friends of yours coming together in this union, you can see how it's all about because of the love, like just the fit, the same frequency, the same vibration, the understanding between them, not needing even to verbalize. There's so much understanding there. It just fits so right and feels so good. And I feel like on this day, it's a bit of an enlightenment day, let's say, because you're seeing something in your reality and knowing that that is what you want as well, and that you will hold out until you get that, and that it's worth waiting for. And I feel like that's the message, that whatever it is you feel like you really want and you feel impatient about it, you have to understand that it is worth waiting for. And it doesn't mean, this is not coming up because it means that you have to wait forever or even very long at all. But it feels like as soon as you realize, no, it feels like as soon as you can sit back in peaceable comfort with the notion that you're in no rush to get to the thing that you want, but that you trust it will come at the exact right time, just as how the universe works. It's magic. Then it will come, and it can be tomorrow, it could be a week, it could be a year, until you get the notion that you need to find peace where you are first before manifesting that thing that you want come into your life, into your actual reality. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I feel like that's something for you to process and play with, okay? So let's go to the Death card and keep making connections where you can here, because it's interesting, because this is also a theme of marriage, theme of having children, creating a family, theme of marriage, of being in union, and both of these, keep in mind, are themes having to do with attachment, and also the idea of external validation by another, the child would be external validation of your motherhood, let's say, or your femininity, and as would actually the marriage would be what's it called, external validation of your, let's say, value or worthiness, or worthiness of partnership, or even feminine energy as well. So this is coming up, and it's coming up as a theme, a running theme through a few sessions I'm having about people needing to disconnect from the idea that that to feel good, you need to get it from outside yourself, and not trusting or knowing or trusting that you can feel that good, the ecstasy, the alignment, all from within yourself. You just have to discipline yourself to go find it, because it's there. We've been taught not to look inside ourselves, but to need external validation. And that's what we have to unlearn. Consider that and just process that and sit with that, okay? So the Death card here is the Disease card, and I feel like what we're looking at is simply someone, it feels like, it's interesting because you have products that are very holistic and healthy, and I don't think, it's not like you die like way before your time. It's not like you're a young death. It feels like it has to do with being outside. It's almost like, I want to say, like, too much sun, but at the same time the sun's healthy. So what we're looking at here, it feels like, is something used in excess instead of moderation. That is the only thing that is important about this card, I feel, for you to hear, is moderation over excess. If you are looking to feel good, or if you're looking to, let's say, even say like lose weight, or, something with your image, but really, honestly, what really matters is feeling good in your body. But whatever it is that you're wanting to do about your body, feels like it comes down to moderation over excess. Whatever that is, maybe less drinking, maybe less sugar, or less sedentary lifestyle, if that makes sense. like don't sit for too long, prolonged period of time kind of thing, or whatever it might be, I feel like you would know what I'm talking about at this point. And so if that resonates with you, that's something you want to like jump on. You do. You just, if you know what I'm talking about, like less sugar, okay, then cut the sugar. You know, less alcohol, cut the alcohol. Less whatever, just try it. Try it for a couple weeks and see how your body responds. You have the discipline in you in order to do that. You do. And if you don't resonate with that, just tuck it in the back of your mind and just keep it with you. Now, the lesson. Okay, so this card, the lesson card, sorry, can you see that? Let's see. This is the let go card. And I feel like this is all about what we were talking about as far as letting go of preconceived programmed notions in you when it comes to certain things that are very routine or normal in society, such as having children by a certain time or having children at all, creating a family, marriage, and what you think of as far as like how you seek out relationships, or how you form relationships, what looks good versus what feels good. Letting go of these patterns, that's the biggest thing. So what you want to do is really try to take a day at least, I would say a whole week, and monitor your thoughts and patterns of thoughts, patterns of routine, and see where it is, where it might not be serving you the best, and try to do something that breaks that routine or pattern, and break it for a good week and see the difference and see if you feel better about yourself, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physically. Just try it, because I guarantee there are things that you will want to let go of, and even things you really, like, it might be coming to mind right now what you want to let go of, but in doing that, in starting the process for real, being disciplined like daily, you're going to find a lot more coming up as time goes by, as you clear space, more and more patterns rising to the surface that don't really even belong to you. It was just learned. So you want to really go through a nice letting go process. And also knowing that when you do this letting go process, it will put you more and more into alignment, more and more. And that's where you want to be. So keep making connections where you can with that. And anyway, there is your past life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to make some connections. And thanks for letting me read you.